The greatest music of all time, FM 98.5, CKWR. Diana Ross and the Supremes, and someday we'll be together. Well, good morning. It's 8:36. My name's Jeremy Smith, and, we love telling success stories, and especially local success stories. That's exactly what we have for you this morning. Shevaun Voisin is founder and publisher of Motivated magazine, the locally produced quarterly distributed to major centers across the continent. Can also be seen online at motivatedonline.com. Just honored this fall for that pursuit and passion with a 2010 Oktoberfest Woman of the Year Award in the Entrepreneur category. Last year, a 2009 Canadian Youth Business Foundation Outstanding Mentor Award winner, and today, Ad Bingamans in Kitchener, being recognized as a woman of influence in our community. One of three outstanding Ontario women who will be honored today with a Local Hero Award as she joins us this morning from her home in Mannheim. Good morning, Shevaun.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Well, I did want to touch on all these successes as we tell a little bit of your story this morning. But it wasn't all that long ago that you were beset with one of the darkest of family tragedies and following in short order a personal health challenge. These were two events that had you questioning for all intents and purposes all of life. You were seeking answers.
That's right. And, it's amazing how things sort of come into your life and then they serve as a huge catalyst for change. And, I look back, it was just 3 years ago that our son Declan died. And 6 months after that, I self-diagnosed breast cancer. So I was facing a mastectomy and really was sort of on the floor searching for, through the puzzle pieces of life, what do I really believe in anymore? And amazingly, it has come full circle. I still have come around to understanding that life does unfold the way it's supposed to, and if we're looking for answers and lessons, that they're there. And we look at different challenges that face us, but when you can get on the other side of that, there's usually something quite beautiful. And so I've managed to take those two events and turn them into something beautiful. I named my publishing company after Declan, so it's called Declan McAndrew Publishing. And Motivated magazine was born out of those two, what I call cosmic 2x4s, in me asking, have I really accomplished what I want to do in life? Have I done what I, came to do? And I decided it was to inspire people, and that's my goal right now, to inspire the world to rise to their fullest potential. And so I do that, I feel, with Declan's help and through this particular medium, the magazine, and both speaking across Canada and the U.S. on the similar messages that I'm talking about today.
Well, you can see Shevaun frame these profound events in her life in a motivational speech called Reinventing the Self on her website, which we've mentioned, motivatedonline.com. Why don't you talk a little about your family, because, of course, they would be so much part of this story.
For sure. It's interesting. I was speaking in Moncton, New Brunswick last month. Richard Branson was speaking at an event, and I was so honored to be invited to speak at the same event. And after I gave my speech, someone stood up and said, we can really feel the love in this room that you share with your husband. And I had mentioned I couldn't do anything that I'm doing right now without his support and getting through what we have. It's one thing to make a child, it's another to lose one. And ironically, they gave him a standing ovation, which I thought was an amazing sort of thing to come out of that particular speech. He didn't like it so much, but for sure, your family pulls around you in order to survive these moments. And we have 4 children. So we have Aiden, who's 12, Skylar, who's 10, Ashley, who's 8, and Ireland, who's 14 months, who was born after Declan. So, family is a huge part to us, and certainly we all go through our own difficulties and grieving process, but you have to pull together in order to move forward. And much of our philosophy is about that. Things are going to happen. What are you going to do in response to what happens to you? You can't control that, but you can, control how you're going to respond to it.
Well, you have been involved with Leadership Waterloo Region, whose mandate and mission centers around inspiring and educating the leaders of tomorrow. You do lots of mentoring. I mentioned the Outstanding Mentor Award with the Canadian Youth Business Foundation. It was back in 2007. Janine Keller-Ing was matched with you.
Yeah, and that really ties into my Declan story as well, because I had committed to mentoring Janine before Declan died. I was pregnant. And then he passed away in October, and I was supposed to start mentoring her in October, November-ish. And she was such a beautiful gift to me at the time because, and I had considered, can I even do this? But in many ways, she's one of the reasons I continue to get out of bed. Mentorship is a beautiful opportunity to mirror someone's gifts, and they do the same thing back. Most people look at mentorship as, someone as a hierarchy above. I don't believe that at all. I think you walk side by side. And so Janine is an amazing entrepreneur in her own right in this community with Blue Skies Yoga, and I was fortunate to have her in my life at that time and continue to. In order to share what I did know in terms of business background and experience. But, in many ways, I look back at that period, and she served as a huge role for my healing.
Janine, as you've mentioned, successfully founded Blue Skies Yoga and Eco Store in Kitchener, and you will find her progressive business at 55 Victoria Street North. Now, you must tell us about Motivated magazine. You've had some heavy hitters grace the cover and write for you. Bill Clinton, Will Smith, Steve Wozniak, Don Cherry. That list goes on. Tell us about Motivated magazine.
As I mentioned before, really, my entire intention is just to inspire the world. I have, been in business my whole life and had an education background before that, but have always looked at people maybe not always rising to their fullest potential, feeling sort of blocked, negative self-chatter, that kind of thing that happens in our minds, and yet when we get control over it, we really can achieve anything we set our minds to. So the magazine is just that. It's there to inspire people. It sits on the business shelf. And is geared towards entrepreneurs, but has a much broader readership now than I could have ever imagined because it is positive. So I invite leaders from around the world to contribute to the magazine. I sit down and decide what I want the theme to be. And so I've explored happiness, audacity, vision, passion, anything that sort of inspires me, and then find the person that matches that theme. So when I was exploring the theme of forgiveness, Bill Clinton, you couldn't get a better face for forgiveness. An entire country had to forgive him, his wife, his child, and he's gone on to do great things. So for me, putting him on the cover was a no-brainer. And as I move forward for different themes, it works the same way. I really wanted to have Richard Branson on the cover, and was so blessed to sit beside him for breakfast at this event, and he agreed to be on the March cover. And so the next issue will be on mentorship, which obviously ties into something I'm very passionate about as well. So then I'll just seek out people around the world that have significant things to share, and that's what goes in the magazine.
It's a great story. Where would you point us to find out more about Motivated magazine?
You can definitely go to motivatedonline.com, but the magazine is shelved in chapters here in Kitchener-Waterloo and across Canada. If you're traveling in the States, it's at Barnes & Noble. And I love getting emails and phone calls from people from our region when they are traveling because they see it in the airports. And they go, oh, my gosh, I saw it here at the Toronto airport. So it's pretty much out there for people to read. But definitely go online because there's a lot of backstory. And I also post all the articles that are published in the magazine online once the magazine has come off the shelf for people to enjoy.
Well, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this morning, and enjoy your day today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.